And we have some slides prepared, and we'll hold time at the end for questions. But by way of, we can do some we've already done some introductions, but Jen and I can introduce ourselves as well. I'm Lexi Champion, the National Director of Women Make America at the Manufacturing Institute. And Jen, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Jen White. I'm the director of student engagement. So K-12 is my space. And just for everyone's awareness, also a former educator. I spent 10 years as a high school teacher as well. So I tried to bring that into all of our thoughts with this program.
If you're not familiar with the Manufacturing Institute, we are the workforce development and education affiliate of the National Association of Manufacturers. So we have 14,000 or so companies that the National Association of Manufacturers partners with across the country. And we support many of those companies through kind of workforce and education components, as well as executing on some of our own programmatic elements as well. Some of those areas of focus are around veterans and students, and women as well, and getting them prepared for successful manufacturing careers. And we have some skills training as well in there. And this mentorship program is a component of our women portfolio. Um, we can go to the next slide, Jen. The reason that we're focused on women is that while women make up around half of the US workforce, they're only about 29% of the manufacturing workforce. And women are currently outpacing men when it comes to college enrollment and graduation. So there's a huge opportunity to bring more women into the manufacturing sector, to bring their great ideas and fresh perspectives into that space. So several years ago, we launched a campaign called the 35 by 30 campaign, which is an initiative to increase the share of women in manufacturing from 29% to 35% by 2030. And one of the key components of this campaign is around mentorship, both for women who are already in manufacturing careers, ensuring that they have the tools and connections that they need to be successful within those careers, but also for girls who may be interested in manufacturing careers. So I'm curious how, you just raise your hand or shake your head if you yourself have had a mentor before. Yep. They can create a lot of value, and can be real, like key people in our like professional and personal growth and development. So if we go to the next slide. These are just some kind of quick things about kind of the power of mentorship overall. Women who are mentored are better prepared for promotions, stay with their company longer, are more likely to mentor other women and support them. And women who mentor have higher job satisfaction and fulfillment rates, reduced anxiety, are more committed to the companies they work with. And research actually shows that companies who implement mentorship programs and really facilitate mentorship on like a broader scale see a 20% increase in female leadership. So that's one of the reasons it's kind of one of our focus areas. And Jen, do you want to talk about youth mentorship?
Yeah, and so for those of you, who are in education, I probably don't even need to tell you this, but there's a lot of, potential impacts for students who are mentored as well. And, mentors for students can look like a lot of different things. I think you all are mentors for them one way or the other. But this program really focuses on providing them with a professional mentor in industry, which is something that a lot of students don't get. And it really gives a different perspective in helping them prepare for what it is post-secondary that they may already know that they want to pursue, and maybe even more importantly, for those who don't know what they want to do post-secondary. And two, it can help with that career readiness and understanding professional behaviors and different things that'll help them be more successful when they do enter into whatever their, job company is going to be. In addition to that, of course, can lead to increased high school graduation rates, lower dropout rates, healthier choices, stronger relationships, better self-esteem, improved behaviors, and really helping them understand even how to maintain positive relationships. Um, So looking beyond the mentorship, I'd be interested to know how familiar each of you are with manufacturing in general. Good. I see some thumbs up. Those of you who are not on camera, that is absolutely fine. But we in manufacturing, while we're working with Dow on this program, we focus on manufacturers across the country of all shapes, sizes. And the one thing everybody has in common is the skills gap, the need for skilled workers. We recently released a report with Deloitte, one of our research partners, where the new numbers are we're going to potentially add 3.8 million new jobs by 2033, and we're at risk of half of those going unfilled essentially. And while we can target a lot of other groups, students really are our future in many different ways. And manufacturing is rapidly changing, evolving, becoming much more high tech. And the processes even are different. So part of the work that we do is really focused on changing perceptions. We know that we have a perception issue because of what people think that manufacturing is. And a lot of that might be based on, what they learned in school in US history class, or what their parents have done or shared with them, or what they've seen on TV. So we work regularly to try to change those perceptions about, manufacturing. These are not dead-end jobs. These are not something that you go and do when you don't have another choice. These are life-changing jobs. And those on the call from Dow can attest to that. And, students can come out of high school directly with no additional they don't need a college degree to come in and be making a lot of good money with great benefits as well. And so in addition to that perception issue, though, there's really just a lack of awareness for students. Again, not knowing what manufacturing is, not knowing the many different types of careers that are available in our industry. And we don't focus just on the production side of things that you might often think about. I want every kid to see themselves in manufacturing, whether they want to work with their hands, whether they want to be in design or marketing or become a lawyer because we need them too, or finance. We have a space in this industry for everyone. Dow even, I think, has their own like firefighters and nurses on staff. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. And that may vary by location, but there's just so many opportunities here. What I love about this data is Science does a report, and I don't know why my little footnotes didn't make it on here, but I'm happy to share these links with you afterwards too. But in their research, they have shown that there is a huge exposure gap, especially for advanced manufacturing and computers and technology. And essentially what that exposure gap is we often ask kids what their interests are and help align them with career fields based on their interests, but they measure their aptitudes as well. And so that exposure gap is the difference between how many kids say that they're interested in it versus how many kids have the aptitudes for these types of careers. And that gap is huge with girls. And so to show you that a little more closely, I think this was, I want to say there were like 200 and some thousand girls that were a part of this specific study. And you can see here how big. So this is the number of girls that showed interest in advanced manufacturing careers versus those that actually have the aptitude to be successful in these careers. Same with computers and technology. And this is one that throws me all the time because these kids are technology native. And so the number of girls that haven't even shown any interest in getting into that field is still so low. And we know part of that is too, A, they don't know, and B, we know that we're losing a lot of girls younger. from showing interest in these types of STEM related careers, if you will. So we're really wanting to fill that gap. But part of that is we want to provide mentorship to girls, but two, through that mentorship, they can learn more about manufacturing. They can learn about the different roles that are available. And again, they can get those, the assistance in career readiness and exploring new things, in helping to make a decision for post-secondary, whatever that might be. So as we think through this program, was anybody on here? Did your school participate in this last year by chance? Or is this new to everyone? So this is our second year.
I think my school did, but this is my first year here, so I am not familiar with it.
Well, I want to give you a little bit of background. Last year was our first year of doing the youth mentorship. And what we found was the number of girls that and whatever the issue was, right? We don't know what caused the lack of engagement, but we do know that there was a lack of engagement. We had 3 or 4 mentorship relationships, if you will, that were really strong. However, the girls that were successful in that mentorship, or that were really engaged, also were already going into fields. Like, they had a lot of support. They already knew kind of where their trajectory was. And so we want to support those girls, but we also want to be a little bit more targeted in who it is that we're recruiting for this. And you know your students the best. So as we think about kind of what the priority considerations are, we, of course, want to focus on female identifying students. And really, we're looking, and some of this is going to be open to you for interpretation for who you, again, you know your students and who you think could benefit most from this. But really, we're looking at current sophomores and juniors, not to say that we also don't want to support freshmen and seniors. So kind of think of them in the secondary considerations, but girls who are undecided in their post-secondary plans, those who maybe don't have a strong support system outside of school that a mentor could become part of their support system. Girls who like to work with their hands or have shown that interest, but maybe don't know how they can use those skills. Those who expressed interest in the processing technician pathway, and we can talk a bit more about that here in a moment. And those who have an interest in going to work directly out of high school. We want to use this mentorship not as, well, like I said, we want them to also learn about things that they maybe never knew existed. And in Dow and other companies similar, the process technician pathway is really kind of lucrative in some senses, in the way that they can get into that. Not that we are specifically recruiting for that either, but we do want girls to learn more about that. And then looking at your secondary considerations, current seniors who are undecided in their post-secondary plans would be great here as well. However, if they are undecided, we do want to share more with you about the Dow apprenticeship program, because that application is opening very soon, but I'll let Dow talk about that. Current seniors who, again, don't have a strong support system, and then those girls who have already expressed an interest in fields aligned with manufacturing. I hate to say STEM because STEM is so broad, and so many girls also don't see themselves in STEM. So many kids in general. I also don't want to focus just on CTE programs. I really want to think more broadly about all of the girls in the school who just, maybe they know, maybe they don't. But a lot of these different fields do align into manufacturing as well. I know last year, just for an example, I think we had a girl, she was very successful, in engaging through the program, but she was going into veterinary science. And while that's great, that's not necessarily meeting the intent of our support for the manufacturing industry. We will 100% still take and, support those girls, but we also want to make sure we're working towards our mission as well. So, and keep in mind, those are suggestions, right? That is not an end all be all. Lexi, I'll let you
Yeah.
get through this.
So the way that we've kind of structured the mentorship program is that mentors and mentees will meet about once a month during school hours. And those meetings could be anywhere from like 30 to 45 minutes. We have structured all of the programming through some mentor and mentee guides that we can kind of share with you guys so you can see those after this call. We'll share those around today. And all meetings will occur virtually. So nothing in person between the mentors and mentees.
Yeah, and so we tried to be very thoughtful about how this is structured to really be protective of the kids. So as Lexi said, everything is structured or occurs virtually. We have the platform that we use to match the mentee with the mentor, and Lexi can talk a bit more about that. But then they do use their own platforms. Typically, the DAO team can help set this up using Zoom, Google Meet, Teams. Nothing has to be paid for. All can be accessed free, essentially. There is no sharing of personal contact information, no sharing of phone numbers, social media handles, anything of that nature. Email would be the one exception, and we encourage both the mentors and the mentees to use their school email address if they have one. The mentors are required to use their DAO email address, not a personal email. I'm not sure if all of your kids have school email addresses. So if they don't, in that case, they would use a personal email address, or they could also work with their parent to use an email in that sense. And then all mentors undergo a training as well on mentoring youth. So we'll be doing that a little bit later here this year in 2024. It's crazy that I'm saying we're almost at the end. And then, of course, all mentors are signing a code of conduct as well. And we've just kind of provided a screenshot here so you can see what that is. They also all have, upon employment or beginning employment with Dow, I believe, have had background checks, but that's a component of the program as well. So looking at some key dates, Lexi.
Yeah, so we're excited to kind of start kind of recruitment of mentees starting I think, next Friday, November 1st, and running through mid-December, kind of right before students go out on the holidays. We've already begun some mentor recruitment with Dow, and that is ongoing currently. Once the registration period ends, there's kind of a quiz involved and that we use as a matching form to make sure that we have strong mentor and mentee kind of pairings and that kind of what they're each hoping to get out of the relationship is aligned. So we'll go through kind of like that matching period to ensure for those strong matches at the back half of December so that right at the top of the new year when you guys are kind of back in school and such, you've received the matching information. That first mentorship session will happen in the back half of January and will continue on through the end of May. Again, facilitated by those guides that we have put together that, again, are really structured. It's like month one, here are the types of conversations you should be having. Month two, be discussing this. So we really provide like a pretty strong framework for what these mentor-mentee relationships should cover, but also leave some flexibility based on what the mentee wants to kind of learn about from their mentor.
And just for a little more background too, last year we started this program in October. So their meetings started in October and ran through the end of the school year. We also found that that might have been a little bit long for this age group for a mentorship. And so that's why we have shortened it as well to just be kind of those 5 sessions. And we're gonna see how this goes. And I know I asked in the registration as well if any of you had other mentorship programs that your students or your school might be involved with. And I think that's part of this is still kind of in the pilot phase, and we're always looking to learn too. So if you have some insights into other successful youth mentorship programs, we would love to hear those from you also, because we just want to constantly improve and make this as impactful for the kids as possible. And so, oops.
I guess like immediately, are there any kind of like questions that have arisen throughout this or any concerns that you guys have? Great. This is also not your last time to ask questions. So, but again, following this call today, we'll send out a recording of this call just so you have it for your records. And the mentor mentee guides, we can send around kind of that study that Jen was referencing. If it would be helpful, we can share like a hard copy of the code of conduct so that you guys can see that and what the mentors are signing. Next week, we'll be sharing kind of all of the tools and resources you guys need to actually start doing some of the student recruitment. So that's the sign up form, parental consent form, and maybe some other materials associated with that. And again, yeah, now through kind of mid-December or so, really identifying who are the right students to kind of participate in something like this.
And it's important to note, I know it's here in the slide, but students cannot participate without their parent or guardian's approval as well. So that is something that we would look to you all to help facilitate getting that to them. It's all done through a web form. So, and we have like an informational thing that would include that you could then either via the child directly or that you wanted to send directly to the parent to get them that information so the parent knows what their child is doing. So we do want to kind of open the floor up here for a discussion in a moment, but I do want you all, we have time available on our calendars for office hours. And we've tried to make it easy for you all to schedule. So whether it's now that questions come up after we hop off the call, whether you're working on recruitment and something comes up, or you're not sure of, what next steps are, whatever it might be. And then even as we get further into 2025 and these sessions are starting to happen, if you have any questions or concerns throughout, you can always book a meeting with Lexi and I directly through this link. Which I can pop into the chat here in a second, but too, when we can send these slides out that'll have active links as well. So we are always here to help. The one thing I'll preface is when you use this link, it's going to have you enter in your name and your email address, but any information that you can put in the little notes box to let us know kind of how we can best prepare, because we do have them set up for 20-minute meetings. So we want to make sure that we use the time the best we can. So if there's anything we need to come with, that would be helpful for us. So that is the end of our presentation. Tried to make it quick and hopefully even give you guys some time back in your day, but I do want to give you the opportunity if you have questions, comments, concerns, again, things to share from other mentorship programs that you've seen your students participate in that you think could be useful for us to grow from as well. Happy to chat through that here.
I don't have any questions at this moment. I do just want to say that I think that this is extremely wonderful opportunity for female students, and I am excited about being able to have our students participate in this opportunity. I appreciate the facts and information that you put into your presentation today. I think I responded that no, we don't have a mentoring, that our students haven't participated in mentoring before, but I do, and I maybe could pull some things together, and I will, I could email you some information that we've used in the past. And it might, some of it's maybe from some staff stuff that we did for mentoring, but just found it to be good for best practices in mentoring. But thank you very much.
Yeah.
And for the additional time in the day, I appreciate that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we would appreciate, like I said, any insights that you have. And I will say too, we of course want to serve as many girls as we can, but that's also dependent on how many mentors we end up with. And we of course want them to be a good fit for one another in that mentee-mentor partnership or match. So I think we were able to serve everyone who wanted to participate last year. But should we get a resounding every girl wants to participate, I just want to, share that we are limited in our mentors. All of the mentors are female Dow employees, and they come from a variety of different fields, if you will, within the company. Any other questions, concerns, excitement? I'll take it all. Hesitation? All right. Dynelle, I see you on here. Is there anything you would like to add? I do want to say too, if she can't hop on, are you familiar at all with the Dow apprenticeship program? If not, I would encourage you to, I see you, Heather, shaking your head. Thank you. If you are not familiar with it, and again, if you have girls who are undecided at this time or have expressed that interest in kind of going directly into the workforce or, who are interested in kind of manufacturing or in using their hands, so on and so forth, their apprenticeship program. I've talked to a couple, they're not kids anymore, but high school graduates who went into the apprenticeship program and directly into work at Dow. And, just the excitement from them of, I was able to buy a big old jacked up truck, and a 20-year-old getting ready to buy her own house. There's just some incredible opportunities that come from that program. And I know that I think applications, don't quote me, open in January for that, so that they are notified, I want to say April or May, of whether they've been accepted into that apprenticeship program. So check in with your Dow school, your liaison there, if you need more information about that. All right, well, again, this will come out, but our email addresses are here in the slides as well, and we'll have them in a follow-up email for you. But please don't hesitate to reach out to Lexi or I if you have any questions, if you want to schedule some time during office hours. Hopefully you'll be able to find something in those 3 days that work for you. And we've got those set up to run through June 6th through the entire program. So we want to be as available as possible, but we do also have some different travel and things on our end. So if you need to meet with us and none of the times you're not able to find any time during office hours that work, just reach out to us. We'll make something happen. So otherwise, have some time back. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And hopefully your girls find this to be a great experience.
Thanks, everyone.